I am having one of those days where I just need to be at home, take a bath, relax, and brine a tongue. We are brining a cow tongue, and then we are boiling it, well, simmering it for a long time, and doing whatever we want with the meat. Now, cow tongues will not be found at your local Whole Foods. You can sometimes get them at a butcher's, but I suggest going to an immigrant market. If you're in Canada, you might try a Polish store or a Chinese area. In America, you're probably better off in the Mexican stores or your local H-E-B. So what we're gonna do is take a gallon of water, 1 gallon of water, and a cup of coarse salt. Mix it up while it's warm, let the water cool, and then submerge our beef tongue in this brine. It looks like science. Some people like to add a lot of spice to their brine, like juniper and peppercorns, bay leaf, etc. Because we're only brining this for 2 hours, and because brining isn't even necessary, it just helps with the flavor, we're just gonna do this for 2 hours without any extra spices. We're gonna focus on making our broth nicely spiced, because that's where the tongue is gonna spend most of its time. So for now, put the tongue in the fridge and let it sit in the salt water for 2 to 3 hours. You don't wanna leave it in that much longer because it'll be really salty. So yeah, keep that in mind. So the cow tongue is in the fridge, and let's discuss what we're gonna do with it after it's brined. We are, again, brining it for 2 hours. And then we're going to put it in a giant stock pot and slowly simmer it for at least 3 hours. You might need more. Basically, you're gonna put a knife through it, and when it's super tender, it's done. Every tongue is different. So once you put it in the water and let it simmer for a little while, and take the scum off, just like when we make a chicken broth or a bone broth, you take the fat off and the scum off. And then once that's done, you put in the rest of your ingredients. We're going to be using some bay leaf, probably 1 or 2, a pinch of mustard seeds, like 4 juniper berries, a large pinch of whole coriander, and a bunch of black pepper. And from our vegetables and herbs, I found some fresh thyme in my garden and some parsley. Probably want more parsley, I'm just kind of running low. Celery, a whole onion, a parsnip, a carrot, and a couple of cloves of garlic. You wanna actually salt this broth at the very end because the tongue is already brined, so it's going to be salty. So maybe an hour out before the tongue might be ready, taste the broth and see how much salt you need to add. Anyways, you may be wondering what to do with the tongue once it's done. Well, I will show you. There is a procedure. You have to take it out and peel the skin off while it's still hot. Otherwise, you will have like the tongue encased in this weird membrane. And then you eat it. Personally, I like to eat the tongue thinly sliced on top of an open-faced sandwich, like with classic rye bread from a Russian store. That was one of the weirdest things about North America. Everyone has closed-faced sandwiches, like 2 pieces of bread. Very decadent. Yeah, us impoverished folk aren't used to using 2 whole pieces of bread per sandwich. But I slice it thin, and then you can put some mayonnaise on top of it. You can put some, I like it with mustard. I like it with homemade horseradish. Without sauce, you can do a mint sauce. You can do a parsley sauce. You can do a chutney. You could do a big slice of tomato. Honestly, it is just such a tender meat. Like, tongue is almost as tender as beef cheek. I don't know why more people don't eat it. I guess they're grossed out because it's a tongue, but like, you're eating the inside of the cow. You're eating like the parts near its butthole. So yeah, There's really no logic behind it. Look, cow tongues are actually really cool. They're this giant muscle that's responsible for ripping the grass out of the ground and getting it into the mouth because cows don't have top teeth. They also use their tongues to clean their young and do loads of other things throughout the day. They are the essential part of starting the digestion of their meals. So to not eat it is kind of a travesty and a waste. Why wouldn't you eat the coolest part of the animal? And cows in general are really awesome. I think that they're majestic and handsome and they're badass. They actually kill a lot of people every year in Europe because of mating season, and right after they have kids in the spring, cows will batter you to death, like even female cows without horns. So they have a lot of brevity and will to preserve their young. I respect them. I like them more than dogs. I only eat animals I have respect for. So, I'm not going to eat a dog. They're also very curious creatures. One time I was having a picnic in England and a bunch of cows surrounded us and eyed us up and down. And once they decided that we were decent people who respected cows, they gave me a lick and they demanded to be petted. After 20 minutes of mild simmer, you're already getting some scum. Toss it. Keep simmering it until it stops coming up, and then add all of the rest of the ingredients. This is what it looks like with all the ingredients in. As you can see, I really like bay leaf. Again, I'll put the amounts in the description below. And now we just wait. I will come back when we are ready to skin the tongue. Here's the tongue. It's still hot. I've taken it out of the broth it was in. And we're going to start peeling it. Yeah, once you get the initial skin coming off, it's not that hard. The hotter the tongue, the easier it is to peel. So here's my brined, boiled, and peeled cow tongue. This is the color you want. It's definitely done. It's very, very tender to the touch. And yeah, I think I'm gonna slice it up and make a little sandwich. So I sliced off just the end. That's what it looks like inside. It has a really high fat content, which is nice. Very filling cut of meat. Some dill and a little salt. Yum. It's really good. Can't go wrong with cow tongue. The rest of this cow tongue, I'm gonna chop up and make into tacos. My neighbor's coming over for dinner. I wonder if they'll notice. Stay healthy, stay Slav. There's dill all over my hands.